Local Soccer Matters podcast on Garden County Sport with your host, Dan Gorman.
Well, folks, it's been a while, but sure, we're back again now with another episode for you. This week we're joined by Conor Carty. You've probably seen it there recently. Conor signed his first ever pro deal with Wolves. He's a Dunlavin man. He's won the fail with St Nicholas. He follows Dunlavin Gas Hill, and he was spotted for Wolves a few years ago, after a few trials elsewhere, and he's now just signed a 2-year deal with the Premier League club. So we'll be discussing all that with him later. It's a good old chat. There's nothing else to report, as you can imagine. If there's any stories or things like that you want covered at all by us, please do get in touch, soccer-wise or other. And any guests you can think of that might be out there, or if you are a guest potentially and want to get involved to stave off the boredom, please do. So look, I won't delay any longer. I'm hoping to have a weekly league discussion next week possibly, but that depends on guests, etc. So again, if you want to get involved in that, please do drop me a message and we can discuss it. So just in case, a quick background on Conor. As I said, he is from Dunlavin. He's 18 next month. He plays for Wolves under 23, sorry. He's been on fire there the last few matches, but obviously now he's back home to Dunlavin, training away by himself. So hopefully for everyone's sake and his sake, we're all back to normal soon, and he can go back to doing what he does and scoring goals and playing for Ireland, and then in a few years' time he'll be a superstar. So on that, I'll pass you on to Conor Carty. Okay, so as I said in the intro there, I'm delighted to be joined on the line by Conor Carty, the young man from Dunlavin, who's currently playing over Wolves, and you may have seen on our social media channels there, he signed his first ever pro deal with Wolves there very recently. So Conor, welcome to the podcast and delighted to have you here.
Thanks very much, thanks for having me.
It's been a good week or two for yourself with the new contract.
Yeah, I suppose it makes that a little bit sweeter being in this tough time, like just getting it keeps everything and everybody in the family positive, like.
Yeah, and you're obviously you are back home with 11 at the minute. You got to come back before kind of the lockdown and all that crack happened, did you?
Yeah, just before it all kicked off, really. We got out, so yeah, we're kind of lucky that way that we're not still in England.
Okay, so look, we'll go more into the contract and obviously your career, we'll etc. later on. But just for people who may not be too familiar with your story, you're Dunlavin, born and bred, growing up. When did the Wolves interest develop, and how did that all come about?
I suppose I was playing with Newbridge at the time, soccer-wise, and the team came to an end, and I was just going to focus on Gar. Really wasn't really interested, and a team up in Dublin, St Francis, were looking for a striker, and I went up and had a first training session and did a game on a Saturday, and we played KDUL and we won 4-2. I scored 2, and there was a Celtic scout at the game, so the interest kind of sparked from there. And once everybody heard I was at Celtic, then other clubs came in, looked in, and then went across to Wolves and just found it comfortable and just signed with Wolves then.
What age were you roughly this age, Conor?
I was 14, 15 when I was going back and forth to Wolves, and then signed my scholar when I was 16, and then obviously a pro now.
And obviously, as you said, 13, 14, like being a pro soccer player, you never for a second thought that was a reality for you. You were just concentrating on playing the guy with St Nicholas, whoever, was it? Yeah,
I never really thought about it, to be honest, because once I went up to Dublin, I thought we were just going to keep playing, but then first game opportunities came, and then myself and my dad sat down and had a chat, and we thought that it was the right thing to do, so I gave up Gar then and then went across to Wolves, and it all just took off from there.
And obviously, as you said, it's Wolves is who you picked. What was it about Wolves that stood out for you?
At the time, there was 7 Irish players across there, and I knew some of them from playing with the older ages and stuff like that. And when I went over, it just made me feel at home, and everybody got on with each other. And then I think that's what kind of really sealed it.
And obviously, a lot of people listening to the podcast would follow Bray Wanderers, and Bray had for a year a player called Dan McKenna, who's now with Shelbourne, and yourself and himself lived together for a while as well, didn't you?
Yeah, me and Dan, we shared the same digs for a year or so, and we got on really well, and it was unfortunate to see him go home, but he's been doing really well now, so wish him all the best.
And obviously to hear the success stories all the time, and a perfect example is Dan, that you're said both there, same opportunity, same club. do you like still kind of pinch yourself that you're one of the very few who's actually not already sitting at home wondering what the next step is? You're now concentrating on your first ever pro deal with Wolves.
I think, yeah, Daniel going home and stuff like that, it kind of puts it into reality that you can be back playing in Ireland. I think trying that a little bit harder, I think it pays off in the end. And then obviously getting the contract now has kicked me on a little bit more. So.
And before the whole lockdown thing came in, you were doing very, very well, weren't you? You're on a hot streak at the moment.
Yeah, we were. I think the whole team were doing well. We started to climb the table again, and things are looking up for us. And it was unfortunate with the stuff that's after happening now that we're back home. But I don't know what way it'll fare out now, if we'll go back and finish the season or anything.
And you got to the last 16 of the FAU Cup edges?
Yeah, played Chelsea in the last 16, which is a rough enough score. Like, but we got there. Yeah,
well, obviously, look, everyone knows Chelsea's underage structure and they all end up on loan, etc. But and obviously, you're also combining all this with playing for Ireland, and you've scored a few goals, as has been shared and seen on social media, etc. It's I imagine it's always the dream to play for Ireland. Is it as much as you expected?
Definitely, yeah. I remember being down in Wexford. We were on holidays, and we got a call for the 15s. We're looking for, there was a camp on, and we went up, and I think about a month later I got picked in the squad, and we travelled over to Poland, and I scored on my debut. And I think it was like, even to this day, I'll never forget the feeling. Like, and every time you do score for your country, it just gets better.
And what would you say your, obviously goal scoring is a key strength, but what would you kind of say your strengths are?
Probably my hold-up play. Obviously, being with Gal, like, it's a lot of physical contact and stuff, and when you're playing in England, they don't really expect that. They're more like getting into pockets and running in behind. Like, they don't really like the physical side of the game, so I think that like stands to me a little bit.
And yeah, as you mentioned, obviously you grew up playing Gaelic. You won the Féile with St. Nicholas, is that correct?
Yeah, down in Kerry, yeah. We won against Rathmore in the final, yeah.
And like that day, you're probably sitting there thinking, God, it's not going to get much better than this. And obviously, a different sport kind of turned out well. But that's obviously a very fond memory as well, your GAA career.
Oh, definitely, yeah. Even playing for Wicklow, like, it was a really good feeling. And I remember being down in Mallow we were, and about a month later, like, I was going across to Wolves, like, on a trial.
And how, like, obviously, look, when you have a professional soccer career potentially in the corner, I imagine it makes the decision a bit easier, but it still must have been pretty hard to be telling all your mates, look, lads, I won't be playing out anymore.
Yeah, it was a big blow at the time, because, like, obviously we were doing really well and we were getting into county finals and stuff, and I think that they knew leading up to it, because I was missing trainings and I was missing games to go and play in Dublin, and there's only so many times a week you can train GAA Monday, and then soccer Tuesday, GAA Wednesday, soccer Thursday. Like, it does take its toll on it. And me and my dad sat down, we had a chat about it, and then we just thought it was the right decision just to stick with the soccer.
And you still obviously have your eye on Dunlavin GAA. You were down in the intermediate final and they beat Kilmac, were you?
Yeah, I went up to watch it, yeah, when I was home.
The day I was one of my sources told me that I was actually, believe it or not, on the bench for Kilmac that day. So obviously it wasn't such a good memory for me as it was for you. When you see days like that, like again, you're not going to swap what you have for a million years, but there must still be a bit of a twinge that, geez, I'd love to be out there, like, you'd love to be involved. Oh,
definitely, yeah. Like, even like, to go back into the town and they're on the truck and driving to the town, everybody's waving them on, and I had to leave 4 or 5 minutes just after the game, like, to go to the airport, because I was flying back that evening. Like, I would have loved to stay with all the lads and just to celebrate with them.
And everyone I spoke to said that, like, you're a very modest young man. Like, what is it like? And obviously Dunlavin, it's not a big town, so everyone around Dunlavin, I imagine, knows that's Conor, he's with Wolves and all. Is it weird going home and everyone kind of knows you says hello, or is that obviously a lovely feeling?
Yeah, definitely, because I think I've been getting messages over the last couple of days, and everyone's saying that I've been doing the town really proud, because everybody in that town knows each other, like, or know of each other. So yeah, it is a good feeling when you go back up and you do see everybody and chat away for them for a few minutes.
And obviously a lot depends now, as you said yourself, like, you don't know what's going to happen with the rest of the season, etc. So it's hard to kind of ask you if your plans for the near future. But if and when you get back, I imagine you're just gonna goals is what's gonna get you noticed. Like you're just gonna have to keep banging them in, and hopefully it'll get you noticed higher up. Is that the plan?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, and being consistent and how you're playing. Like with Wolves, it's all about hard work. It's not more so goals and stuff. They look out for the little things like training really well throughout the week and then rewarding you with training with the first team or whatever. Like they don't just look for the goals and stuff.
I was gonna say, yeah. My next question was, how much involvement do you get with the first team? Like you said, that's kind of a treat, like a reward. How often do you train with them or interact with them? Or
near enough every week. To do a lot of match prep with the younger ages on a Friday and Thursday. So we do go down and I think the first team now, because the club's quite like a family orientated club, so everybody knows each other in it, and the first team players would always say hello to you in the corridors or whatever when they do see you. So I think it's good that way that they do let us interact with the first team when we do go down.
Did you ever have to mark Traore in a match and try and keep up with him?
I wouldn't even try. I'd just let him on.
Is he as fast as, I'd say when you're up close and personal, it's even more terrifying how fast he is?
Oh, he's an animal. He doesn't even try half the time. He just outpaces it.
And for you as a striker, I presume you're looking at Raul Jimenez and kind of hoping to learn off him and stick to him like glue, and whatever he's doing, you're hoping to emulate it.
Yeah, even when we do go down, I do be watching him, and he doesn't miss, and it's left foot, right foot. Everything he does, he's always hitting the back of the net. And if he does miss, then he's disappointed with himself, and he's sure to score the next one.
And did you get to, obviously going well in Europe so far for Wolves, is that something you've got to interact with? You get to go along to the matches and that, all the matches, tickets for yourselves? Or
yeah, every home game we get tickets to go and watch, and the European games as well, we're lucky enough to get free tickets to go and watch it. So every time there is a game at Molineux, we make sure to go and watch. I
don't know how, obviously people might not be overly familiar with Wolves' history. They're kind of up and down the last maybe 10-15 years in the Premier League and in and out, but they're riding on a very high wave at the moment. And obviously in Europe, it must be amazing just being around the place, and a privilege to be involved at this time.
Yeah, I think even all the players and all the staff, everybody is happy in themselves, and every day you go in, everyone's always in a good mood because of the situation the club are in at the moment.
And with someone like Matt Doherty, I presume, would he make an extra kind of effort to make sure you're okay and keep an eye on you, and with the whole obviously Irish connection? Yeah,
I was saying earlier on, I got asked the same question earlier on, and it was when we went down, he scored his first goal for Ireland in the Aviva, and when I went down, obviously I congratulated him, and he did. He pulled me to the side and we were chatting for a few minutes, just asked me how I was getting on and stuff.
And for you sitting at home, obviously you're going to be keeping up your own fitness and all, but I imagine it's nowhere near the same level. You're eager to get back because you don't want to kind of lose your momentum and kind of drop off the progression you're making. Are you working every day and doing your own bits, or do you have programs assigned?
Yeah, we got programs, and we can't really cheat in them either because we've got an app, and we have to upload the stuff we've done throughout the day on the app. And if we don't meet the target or whatever, we've got a 500-meter challenge when we go back, and they're not easy at all.
Right, it doesn't sound too pleasant now. Is that a sprint, a 500-meter sprint?
Yeah, it's on a spin bike, and it's on the highest gear you can, and if you get it under 30 seconds, it's not easy enough.
Sounds rough, right? And how long was the deal you signed for, Conor, if you're able to discuss that?
I've got another 2 years in my contract, yeah.
So is that an extension, or is that 2 years from now, do you know?
No, it's just 2 years from now, yeah.
Okay, so that's your aim is quite simple, that you have 2 years to earn another one. That's, I'd imagine, all you can think about really, that it's 2 more years and you have to prove in those 2 years that you're worthy of the next step.
Yeah, well, the club aren't afraid either. If you are doing well in 6 or 7 months, they wouldn't be afraid to offer you a new one if you're attracting attention from other teams and stuff. They're not shy that way.
And you'll be 18 in May, 25th of May, is that?
Yeah.
So is going out on loan something you'd be interested in, or would you prefer to stick around the club?
I suppose at the moment now there is quite a lot of players looking to push into the first team, and if I'm being realistic and at the time I need to go out on loan, then definitely I would look at it to go out and get some first team experience. Yeah.
And would you ever contemplate outside of England, or would you want to stick to League One or League Two or whatever it might be?
No, anywhere to get first team experience, like, because it's men's football at the end of the day. So if I could go anywhere to a good like level team, then definitely I would.
I could text your Bray Wanderers number after this if you're interested in that now. I'm sure you'd be delighted.
Well, we'll see, won't we?
No, I'd hope. I think the League of Ireland First Division might be a step down for you at this stage, I'd hope. So yeah, like, what's your, like, do you have a plan for the summer? Then again, it all depends on whether or not, like, if you're allowed back to Wolves, I presume you're expected to be back, report back for duty and carry on as normal, or do you get much of a break in the summer?
Last year we didn't get much with the Euros going on. I think only got 2 or 3 weeks at home, but this year I'm not sure what way it's going to pan out now with all this that's going on.
And would you have like, obviously, again, I referenced Raul Jimenez earlier, would there be a player out there, either past or present, that you kind of base your game on and kind of emulate or mirror?
I watched when we were on the 15s, Robbie Keane and Damien Duff took one of our sessions, and after the end of the session, they went over, and the two of them, even now, like, they were retired, like, and they went over and they did a shooting drill together. And I think just looking at that, like, it just showed the two of them got to where they were by putting in that extra bit of work. So, like, I watch a lot of Robbie now and what he does, like, looking back at his clips on YouTube and stuff.
And even just there, like, the fact that you're referencing Robbie Keane and just saying, oh, Robbie was, like, growing up, obviously I'm 10, 12 years older than you, so obviously when I was younger, Robbie Keane was in his prime and all, but you would have grown up still watching him as this hero for Ireland, and now he's just Robbie who coached every now and then. Like, does stuff like that ever kind of make you think, holy God, what's going on here, or is it just all part of the job for you?
Well, obviously at the time, like, we were looking, all of us, we were a bit in awe, like, at the time, because Damien Duff and Robbie Keane were joining in on our session, like, and Damien travelled to Poland with us, and it was a great experience as well, like, getting tips and stuff off them. But looking back now, yeah, it was crazy, and sometimes they kind of take it for granted going down to train with the first team. Like, you think it kind of becomes a normality, but when you do step back and look at it, you think we've got Traore there, as you mentioned, and they're just absolute animals, like.
Yeah, I'd say for all the people that you see in Traore either in gym or doing the sprints, etc., it's intimidating enough. All right, yeah. It's obviously a very cliched question, but where do you see yourself in 10 years? Is it the dream just to simply obviously be a regular goal scorer at Wolves and playing for Ireland? Is it that simple?
Hopefully be playing at the highest level I can, like, and doing well for myself, and then to obviously I'd love to be playing for my country at senior level, hopefully. And
we just go there, obviously, how it's such a big deal for Dunlavin for you to be there, and you're kind of like seen as whatever, a hero or whatever word you might want to use. Does that make it hard as well? Like, if you were from a big city, like, you could pass without anyone noticing you, but you must miss sometimes that whole community spirit and obviously the family and everything like that. It must be. Is there times when you're kind of a bit not lonely, but you wouldn't mind a night or two at home, like?
Yeah, definitely. But I think stuff like getting a new contract and stuff, it does show the amount of support you have behind you. And like, when I am home, I talk to all my friends, and even playing PlayStation and that, like, everyone keeps in contact with you, and it is good to have behind you, because the days you're not doing anything and you're sitting in digs on your own and stuff, it's the days you do want to be home with your friends, like. So I think it's good that way, that we all keep in contact with each other. And
what do your mates from home too? Like, you're just still obviously Conor, like, you're not Conor the superstar to them, you're just still Conor, yeah. And whatever else they might tell you. It must be just when you're back home, it's just completely normal. It's like you were never away. Is it? There's no like weirdness about it. You're just one of the lads again.
Yeah, definitely. I think like all the boys, obviously the slagging and stuff goes on, but they do, like, nothing changes when I do come home. Everything's just the same. Yeah, that's what I like about it as well. That, like, you don't have to act and be different. Like, everyone's just the same.
And you have the blue tick on Instagram. Do you get any stick over that? No.
No, I got that was from the Euros. It just appeared one day.
And are you on FIFA yet, Conor? No, you're not a player on FIFA, are you?
No, I don't think so, no.
Would that be something pretty cool, I imagine?
Oh, definitely, yeah. Definitely.
I think Dan would be on it this year now, because with Shells, he probably would be on it this year, yeah. So I'm sure he's looking forward to that.
Don't tell him that anyway.
He'll be the first to know, I'm sure. He's a good lad. He was always nice whenever I spoke to him. Yeah, listen, Conor, look, it's obviously, I'm sure you've got plenty to be doing. Listen, thanks very much for joining us. and hopefully we're talking to you again in the near future and you're back to normal, back to scoring goals and wearing the green jersey once again.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
No worries, Conor. Thanks very much. Big thank once again to Conor there for joining me. Very nice fella. He was a bit nervous there at the start, I think, but no bother to him. And hopefully next year we're playing with him on FIFA 21 or 22 or whenever he's on it. He is on Football Manager. If he's played Football Manager, I searched him there. And he's good finishing on it. So if he's happened to play Football Manager, he's maybe sign him on loan and see how he gets on. So listen, folks, that's it for this week. As I said, I don't know when we'll be back. It depends on guests and stories, and no point coming on to discuss. So please do be in touch if you want to discuss that FIFA tournament, which has turned into quite an argument with a few lads. Very competitive. It's still going on, and the final should be maybe Thursday or Friday, I'm not sure. We might live stream for the crack. Any interest, we'll put it up online and see if anyone wants it. So look, for now, that's it. All from me. I'm out. Talk to you again, folks. Thank you.